Okay, we're going to do design configuration table, and we're going to use one of the simplest things in the world to configure, which is a Lego brick. File, new, screen should pop up, part, hit OK. Make sure your origin is on. Go into your options, document properties, and dimensions. Make sure you change the precision to 3. And make sure, yeah, so you're at 3. Okay, down here, inch, pound, second. All right. We're going to go into sketch. We're going to do top view. All right, so top plane, sketch it from a corner. Coming from the origin, going to the upper right. And we know the simplest brick, which is a 1x1, is 0.31 by 0.31. If I go to my ISO view, and we also know that they are 0.128 thick. This is for the thin Legos. So I go in features, extrude it, 0.128 in the downward direction. Happy check mark. We'll do a quick save. Save as. I'm just going to throw it on the desktop, but you throw it wherever you want. Okay. So I'm going to call it Lego brick, and then your first and last initial. Next thing, we need the round extrusion at the top. So we're going to click on that surface. We're going to sketch a circle. Doesn't really matter where, because we're going to dimension it anyways. And let's get to a top view. And we know that it is 0.193 diameter. And we know that it's centered on a 0.31, so it's 0.31 divided by 2. And then in the other direction, 0.31 divided by 2. Black is beautiful, it's defined. Let's go back to our ISO. And we know it extrudes up 0.084. Save that. And then the next thing we need to worry about is that there is an undercut of all of these so they can go together. So we'll click on that surface. We're going to sketch. We're going to do an offset of 0.06. And we're going to reverse it so it's on the inside. We're going to do a extruded cut. All right. We're going to do offset or offset from a surface. So we're going to grab the top surface. And we know that it's offset by 0.038. Okay, save again. Now we have to start getting into configurations. So we're going to go into Insert, Tables, Design Table. Let it stay on the Automatic or Auto Create. Happy check mark. It'll do some stuff. It'll tell you it's seen all these different parameters you've already created, and that we're good to go. With design tables, you see the sort of hash or section view kind of lines on the perimeter. Those are the only way you can grab it and move it around. If you click in the open space of the drawing, it's not going to work. Okay, or it's not going to work. But what happens if you click? Well, let's click it. Oh, and it disappears. You don't want it to do that. And it also tells you there's no design tables found because you haven't created anything yet. Sometimes design tables are a little glitchy, so you may want to go in and turn on Excel. Okay, and when you're in Excel, just grab a blank workbook and just minimize it, as long as it's running. Sometimes it helps the glitchy factor because SolidWorks and Excel are integrated together, so you can use it as a design table. So if I go up here, configurations, you can see the tables. If I expand that design table, and I can edit the table. All right. It goes to automatically B2, right? And if I go back into my design tree, and I double click the first boss, right? It's going to say state of boss extrude 1, which is the square, is unsuppressed, which means it's always going to be displayed. All right. You're also going to want to know in that boss extrude, and you got to grab this carefully again and drag it, its width and also its thickness. So we're going to do boss extrude, and over here you can see the thickness came up in blue, so it's going to fill in here. So I double click it. Okay, it's there. Sometimes that comes up, just hit happy check mark. And then you're going to want your width and length, or width and length, depends on which way you look at it. So again, you're in D2 now, double click that, and then double click the next one. You see they automatically fill in. And we're going to call this over here, we're going to go 1 by 1, and we're going to call it flat. And now I'm just going to click off. Okay. It's going to say that it has created a something. All right. Doesn't hurt to save it right now. Go back to configurations. You can see there's a grayed out 1 by 1 flat. Let's double click it. Now it's active. Design table. Edit the table. Okay. It's going to say some new things came up, like the part number. Okay. And now we're going to do a 1 by 2 flat. So 1 by 2 flat. The extrude is still going to be unsuppressed, your initial boss. Okay. Its depth is going to be 128. Okay. Its direction. Well, in one direction it's staying the same because it's a 1 by 2. In the other direction it's doubling. It's going to become a 0.62. And if I click off over here, it's going to say a 1 by 2 was created. Quick save. And if I double click on the 1 by 2, you can see it's gone in a direction. Now we need to do a 2 by 2. So we're going to go back in, edit the table. And we're going to go, or a 2 by 2 flat. Okay. Again, the boss is like unsuppressed because we need it. The thickness has not changed. Okay, but now we know it's 0.62 by 0.62. Click off. It's going to say a 2 by 2 is created. You're going to see it here in your configuration. Quick save. If I double click on it, we've got that. So let's go back to the 1 by 2. Here we are. Now we want to add some linear patterns. So it's going to say a direction. I'm going to grab this edge. Okay, it's going to ask a distance. Since every brick, starting by the simplest, is 0.31 by 0.31, its distance center to center on the post is 0.31. And then we go on to features, open our design tree, and that's the second one. It's previewed. Okay, happy check mark. It's good. Okay. Then we're going to double click on the 2 by 2. You see, it disappeared. Why? Let's go into design tables. Let's edit the table. Okay. Has patterns, either they're on or off. Okay, so we're going to have to use that. And here it is, comes up. So the first pattern we need to incorporate into our design table. So let's go back into here. Okay. And right now it's showing it as, so let's unsuppress it. So it shows the 2. And let's go back into the design table. Okay. And back into configuration. So pattern 1 just gives you this direction right now, or possibly the other direction. It depends which sketches you used. So F2, I double click pattern, it's going to say unsuppressed. Okay. And let's just drag this carefully again. And in here you're going to want the dimension, which is 0.31. You can see it comes up. And now you have to grab these corners very carefully, stretch this out, and you use the bar in the bottom to move things over. Okay. There is no pattern in the 1x1, so you're going to suppress it. In a 1x2, there is a pattern. Okay. And its distance is 0.31. And we'll just click off. Well, let's just save this quick. And you can see it's a lot of back and forth to get this to work correctly, but you need to take it in slow steps until you get very comfortable with configurations. So if I go back to 1x2 to double check, it'll ask you to rebuild it. Don't worry about that. Quick save. 1x1 looks good. Rebuild again. 1x2 looks good. Also, that undercut you can see is there. Okay, and then let's go to 2x2. Nothing there yet. So we're going to go back into here. We're going to do another linear pattern. We'll grab this edge. It's going this way now. Still, whatever. And then what do you want to do? And we're going to grab that. Not this direction, but the other direction. And a happy check mark, right? And save that. Go back into my design table. Edit it. All right. Okay, it's found that there's a pattern 2. All right, and that's the pattern we're going to want. So we're clicked in there already. We're at H2. Go back here. We're going to double click the pattern. All right, and we need to know. I'm going to move this again carefully. Okay, we need that dimension. So we know the dimension we're going in. And happy check mark. But it is suppressed in 1. It is suppressed in a 1x2. It is unsuppressed in a 1x3. Okay, these numbers, you can put them in there, the 0.31 and a 0.31 again. You can see that they do not change anything because of whether they're suppressed or not suppressed. So let's click off. Okay, and rebuild. Quick save. And we double check our work. If you do it step by step, it introduces less chances of mistakes. So double click 1. All right, double click 2. Double click 2x2. And again, if you look, the undercut is there. So another thing that's really nice, we've named these things, but they're kind of crazy names. If I go into here, all right, if I click and click again, it lets me name what the extrude is. So we're going to call it the box. Sounds good. All right. If I go in here, I can go sketch 1. If I do that again, click, I can say this is my link by width. Okay. Boss extrude 2, we can, right, and that's just the post. Really don't need to do anything about the dimension, naming it, because it doesn't matter. The extrude cut, all right, we'll just call that the snap feature. Okay. Quick save. And if I go into my configurations, right, we know all this stuff is working. Let's go into our design table and edit it. It's going to update. It's still updating. Okay, looks good. I'm going to just shut it off or let it cycle again. Save this. Ooh, this is interesting. It did not do what I expected. I'm going to call this box again. It should have, and I'm just going to do one quickly. It should have let me rename it. And if I go into here and edit the table, there we go. You can see now the name in C1 has become D dimension 1 at box. Okay? And that's what it's supposed to do. As you rename them, they're supposed to come up. So I'm going to turn on 2 and post snap feature. That's all there. Acting a little bit wacky, and sometimes because it's going back and forth between Excel, that's the importance of having it on in the background to reduce what I call the glitch factor. Let's edit the table again, see what it looks like, see if it's renamed things. There we go. So the state of the box, it's unsuppressed. The dimension of the box, which is its thickness. Its length and width, you can see, is in there, those sketches. State of pattern 1 is one direction, right? And its distance, state of pattern 2, and its direction and its distance. Okay. All right, so let's go here, here, here. Let's look at our configurations, box, post, snap feature, everything's there. So that's the basic configurations. And that's how you create design tables. As you expand things, you should do the base first, however big you're getting it, and then add your pattern of rows, okay, and so on. And it's like you're going to suppress possibly this pattern and this pattern, or maybe this one stays on, but now you're going to be going in this direction. It'll be a next thing will be a 2x3 long, 2x4, and so on. And reviewing this video will help you figure it out from one to another.